The Habit Blueprint, Small Actions That Build a New Life, written and published by Vox Reads. Introduction. Small actions. Big change. Change begins with one small decision, not a dramatic leap, not a perfect plan, a single simple step. This book is built on that truth. Your life does not transform through pressure or force. It changes through the small habits you repeat each day. Habits that are easy to start. Habits that feel natural. Habits that slowly shape who you become. The Habit Blueprint is your guide to building those habits. It is a map for anyone who wants to grow with less stress and more clarity. You will learn how small actions create big results. You will see why consistency matters more than intensity. You will discover how your identity, your environment, and your daily choices work together to build a new life. This book is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about understanding how change really works. And it is about giving you simple steps you can apply right now. You will move through practical ideas, one chapter at a time. Each idea is short and clear. Each step is easy to follow, and every lesson is designed to fit into your day, no matter how busy you are. As you listen, you will learn how to start small, how to stay steady, how to break old patterns, and how to build habits that last. By the end of this journey, you will have a blueprint for your life, a plan you can trust, a path you can follow, and a set of habits that lift you toward your best self. So take a breath, settle in, and let these small steps guide you forward. Your new life begins now. Chapter 1. Why Small Habits Matter. Big change often looks dramatic from the outside. We see the success. We see the transformation. We see the final result. But what we do not see is the quiet foundation beneath it. That foundation is built from small habits repeated day after day, long before anyone notices. Many people believe they need a massive shift to start a new life. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment. They wait until they feel ready. But real change does not begin with readiness. It begins with one simple action. Small habits matter because they bypass the resistance that normally holds us back. Your mind may argue with big goals. It may feel threatened by huge changes, but it rarely fights a small, easy step. This is why a tiny habit can slip into your day without stress, and once it is there, it begins to work quietly in the background. Think about planting a seed. A seed is small. It does not look powerful. It does not show signs of growth right away. But beneath the soil something is happening. Roots form. Strength gathers. The seed prepares for something larger. Your small habits work the same way. At first nothing seems different. Then over time the change becomes impossible to ignore. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine someone who wants to get healthier. They picture a strict routine. They imagine running for long distances every day. This picture feels heavy. It feels overwhelming. So they never start. But now imagine a different approach. They begin with a 2-minute walk after breakfast. Just 2 minutes. There is no pressure. There is no struggle. There is only the small act of movement. After a week, 2 minutes becomes 5. After a month, the walk becomes a habit. And soon the habit transforms the person's identity. They no longer try to exercise. They start to see themselves as someone who moves. This identity shift begins with the smallest action. That is the real power of tiny habits. They are the doorway into a new self. Another reason small habits matter is consistency. Large efforts burn energy quickly. Small actions keep you moving even when life feels busy or difficult. You may not have an hour to work on a big goal, but you always have a few minutes. And those minutes count. They build momentum. They protect your progress. They keep your mind engaged with the direction you want to go. You may know people who try to change everything at once. They buy new tools. They build strict schedules. They fill their days with ambitious plans. But after a week, the pressure becomes too heavy. The new routines collapse. They feel disappointed. They return to old patterns, not because they lack discipline, but because the system they used was too large. Small habits solve this problem. They offer stability. They offer control. They offer a path that anyone can walk, no matter their starting point. Let's consider another real-world story. A writer wants to finish a book. They push themselves to write for long hours, but they become exhausted. Weeks pass, and the book remains unfinished. Then they try something different. They decide to write one sentence a day. Only one. It seems almost pointless at first, yet they commit to it. Every day, one sentence. But something happens. The sentence often becomes two, then a paragraph, then a page. Within months, the book takes shape, not from perfect discipline, but from a simple habit repeated without pressure. Small habits matter because they create motion. And once you are in motion, momentum follows. Momentum is the silent partner of success. It pushes you forward even when motivation fades. It keeps you connected to your goals. It strengthens your belief in your own ability to change. Small habits also help you form trust with yourself. When you keep a small promise, you strengthen your self-respect. You prove to yourself that you follow through. Over time, this creates confidence, and confidence fuels bigger changes in the future. A small habit is not only an action, it is a message you send to yourself. The message says, "I can do this." And when you hear that message enough times, you believe it. As we move through this book, you will hear many ideas. You will learn how habits form. You will learn how to make them stick. You will learn how to build an environment that supports your growth. But before we explore any of that, you must understand this truth. Small habits are the foundation of everything. They are the bridge from who you are to who you want to become. Small habits matter because they are achievable. They matter because they are sustainable. They matter because they reshape your identity without force. And most of all, they matter because they build a new life from the inside out. In the next chapter, you will discover how identity drives behavior, and why starting from the inside creates stronger and more lasting change. For now, remember this simple idea. If you want a new life, begin with a small step. It may not feel powerful today, but over time, it becomes the blueprint of your future. Chapter 2. Identity first, action second. Every lasting change begins inside you, not in your schedule, not in your environment, not in a list of tasks. It begins with the person you believe you are. Many people try to change their lives by forcing new actions on top of old identities. They try to work harder. They try to push through resistance. They try to behave like someone they do not yet believe they are. This creates tension. It creates stress, and it often leads to frustration. Why? Because your actions will always follow your identity. When the identity stays the same, the old habits return. Identity is the quiet story you tell yourself about who you are. It is the voice that says, "I am disciplined," or "I always quit," or "I am not good at this." These stories shape your behavior. They guide your choices long before you act. If the story is weak, the habit struggles. If the story is strong, the habit becomes natural. Think about a simple example. Two people are offered a cigarette. Both are trying to quit. The first person says, "No thanks. I am trying to stop." The second person says, "No thanks. I am not a smoker." One is fighting against an old identity. The other has already embraced a new one. The difference is small, but the effect is powerful. Identity changes the direction of the mind. Let's look at a real-world story to make this clear. A woman wanted to become a morning runner. She bought new shoes and set early alarms. But every morning she hit snooze. Her body resisted. Her mind resisted. Her motivation faded. Why? Because deep inside she still believed she was not a morning person. The identity was stronger than the habit she was trying to build. Then she changed her approach. She decided to adopt a new identity. She told herself, "I am someone who wakes up early." She repeated it before bed. She said it again in the morning. At first it did not feel true, but she acted on it anyway. She started with a small step. She sat up in bed. She put her feet on the floor. She took one slow breath. Then she walked for 2 minutes. Not running, not pushing, just walking. Over time the identity became real, not because she forced it, but because she lived it in small ways every day. This is the law of identity-based habits. You become the person your actions repeat, and your actions become easier when they match the person you believe you are. When you start with identity, change feels natural. You are no longer fighting your own mind. You are stepping into a version of yourself that already exists within you. You simply bring it to life through small actions. Identity begins with a choice. You choose the kind of person you want to become. You choose the qualities you want to embody. You choose the story you want to live. Then you support that identity with small steps, not huge leaps, not pressure-filled routines, just small steady actions that confirm who you are. For example, if you want to be a reader, you read 1 page. If you want to be a fit person, you stretch for 1 minute. If you want to be organized, you tidy 1 small area. These actions are simple, but each action sends a message to your brain. This is who I am now. And when your brain believes the message, the habit becomes easy. Identity also gives you stability. Motivation rises and falls. Energy shifts from day to day. But identity stays with you. When you act from identity, you do not rely on excitement or perfect conditions. You follow through because the action expresses who you are. Here is another example. A young man wanted to improve his finances. He tried budgeting apps and strict saving plans. Nothing worked. He always slipped back. Then he shifted his identity. He told himself, "I am someone who handles money with wisdom." It felt strange at first, but he supported the identity with 1 small daily act. He checked his account for 30 seconds. That was it. Over time, his identity grew stronger. His choices changed. His habits changed. And his finances changed. Not because he pushed himself harder, but because he became someone who made smarter decisions. Identity first, action second. This is the core principle of lasting transformation. As you listen to this book, you will learn many techniques. You will learn how to shape your environment, how to stay consistent, how to track progress, how to break old patterns. But none of these tools will work well until you decide who you want to become. And this decision is not dramatic. It is not a sudden transformation. It is a simple, quiet choice. A choice you confirm through your small habits. So ask yourself a powerful question. Who do I want to become? Not tomorrow. Not in a year. Right now. Do I want to be someone who grows? Someone who learns? Someone who takes care of their body? Someone who keeps promises to themselves? Someone who builds a life with intention. Once you answer that question, your habits will have direction. They will no longer feel like chores. They will feel like expressions of the true you. And when habits reflect identity, they last. In the next chapter we will explore the law of one small step. You will learn how tiny actions create powerful momentum. But before we move forward, hold on to this truth. Your identity shapes your habits long before your habits shape your life. Choose the identity, and the actions will follow. Chapter 3. The Law of One Small Step. Every major transformation begins with one small step, not a giant move, not a perfect plan, just a single simple action that points you in a new direction. This is the law of one small step, a principle so simple that people often overlook it, yet powerful enough to reshape your life. Most people freeze when they face big goals. They imagine everything they must do. They think about the long road ahead. They feel pressure to change all at once. This pressure creates fear. Fear creates hesitation, and hesitation keeps them stuck. But when you shrink the goal to one tiny action, the fear fades, the mind relaxes, starting becomes easy. The law of one small step works because it removes the weight of expectation. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, you focus only on the next step. One step is manageable. One step is realistic. One step gives you momentum without stress. Let's look at a story that brings this idea to life. A young man wanted to learn the guitar. He bought a beautiful instrument. He downloaded lessons. He set huge goals for himself. He imagined playing full songs within a month. But every time he picked up the guitar, he felt overwhelmed. He tried for a few days, then quit. The gap between who he was and who he wanted to become felt too large. Then something changed. His teacher gave him new advice. Do not practice for an hour. The teacher said, practice for 1 minute. Just one. Touch the guitar. Play a simple chord. Then stop if you want. This sounded almost too easy. But he tried it. Every day he played for 1 minute. Some days the minute stayed a minute. Other days the minute grew into 10. Sometimes 20. Within months he could play full songs. Not because he pushed harder, but because he built a habit that was easy to begin. This is the power of one small step. It starts the process. It builds confidence. It opens the door to more action. You move forward because the step is so small your mind cannot argue with it. Even science supports this idea. When you take a tiny step, your brain experiences a small win. That small win releases motivation. Motivation encourages more action. This creates a loop that strengthens the habit. A tiny step can trigger a big shift in the brain. Let's explore another example. A woman wanted to declutter her home. She felt buried under old clothes, boxes and papers. She tried cleaning for hours, but she burned out quickly. The mess felt endless. Then she tried a new approach. She decided to clean one item a day. Just one. One shirt. One book. One paper. It felt effortless. Some days she stopped at one. Other days she did more because she was already in motion. After a few months her home looked completely different. Not because she raced, but because she stayed consistent with a tiny daily action. The law of one small step works in every area of life. Want to improve your health? Drink 1 glass of water. Take 1 short walk. Stretch for 1 minute. Want to grow your mind? Read 1 page. Learn 1 new word. Watch 1 short lesson. Want to improve your finances? Save 1 small amount. Review 1 transaction. Learn 1 new skill. Each small step builds direction. Direction builds momentum. Momentum builds change. The key is to choose a step that is so small you cannot fail. A step that feels almost too easy. This prevents resistance. It prevents excuses. It keeps you moving even on low energy days. When the step is tiny, the habit survives your mood swings, your busy schedule, and your moments of doubt. You may wonder how such a small step can create meaningful change. The answer is simple. A small step repeated becomes a pattern. A pattern becomes a habit. A habit becomes part of your identity, and identity shapes your destiny. This chain begins with one action that takes less than a minute. There is another hidden benefit to the law of one small step. It teaches your mind that progress is always possible. Small steps break the belief that change must be dramatic. They show you that improvement can happen quietly, gently, steadily. Each step whispers, "I can begin again today." This message is powerful because it keeps you engaged with your journey, even when life feels heavy. As you move forward in this book, remember that your goal is not perfection. Your goal is motion, small, calm, steady motion. The law of one small step is your anchor. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, return to it. Ask yourself, what is one tiny step I can take right now? Then take it. Do not worry about tomorrow. Do not worry about the big picture. Just make the next small move. In the next chapter we will explore the habit loop. You will learn how cues, routines, and rewards shape your daily behavior. But before we move forward, hold this truth close. Every new life begins with one small step, and you can take that step today. Chapter 4. Build the habit loop. Every habit you have, whether helpful or harmful, follows the same simple pattern. This pattern is called the habit loop. It has three parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. When you understand these three parts, you gain control over your habits. You no longer rely on willpower. You no longer hope for motivation. You build habits with intention and clarity. Let's break the loop down in a way that is easy to understand and easy to apply. The first part of the loop is the cue. A cue is a small signal. It tells your brain to begin a certain behavior. A cue can be anything: a time of day, a place, a feeling, a sound, even another habit. You may not always notice the cue, but it is always there. For example, imagine you check your phone every time you hear a notification sound. The sound is the cue. It triggers the routine. And because the routine feels rewarding, you repeat it without thinking. The second part of the loop is the routine. This is the actual habit. It is the action you take after the cue appears. Routines can be physical, like brushing your teeth. They can be mental, like worrying about the future. They can even be emotional, like calming yourself with deep breaths. The routine is the visible part of the loop, but it is also the part influenced by the cue and the reward. The third part of the loop is the reward. A reward is what your brain gains from the habit. It is the reason the habit sticks. Rewards give your brain a sense of satisfaction. They create a small moment of relief or pleasure. This tells the mind, do this again. The reward is the glue that holds the habit in place. Let's look at a real-world example that shows how the habit loop works in daily life. Imagine a man who always buys a sugary drink during his afternoon break at work. He does not think about it. It feels automatic. But if we slow the loop down, we can see the pattern. The cue is the time of day. 3 o'clock arrives, and he feels tired. The routine is going to the vending machine, and the reward is the small burst of energy and comfort that follows. Over time, his brain learns the loop. It repeats the pattern without needing a decision. Understanding this loop gives you power. When you know the cue, you can change the routine. When you know the reward, you can replace it with something better. You shape the habit instead of letting the habit shape you. Let's explore a story about building a healthy habit using this loop. A young woman wanted to begin journaling. She believed it would help her manage stress, but she never found the time. The habit felt difficult to start, so she rebuilt the habit around a simple loop. She chose a cue: her morning cup of tea. She placed a notebook beside the teapot so she would see it every morning. This visual cue reminded her of her intention. Her routine was small. She wrote one sentence about how she felt, not a full page, not a long reflection, just one sentence. The reward was a moment of calm, a breath of clarity before the day began. Within a few weeks, the habit became natural. The loop carried her forward with ease. This is the beauty of the habit loop. It does not rely on pressure. It relies on structure. A small cue, a simple routine, a meaningful reward. When you want to build a new habit, start with the cue. Ask yourself, what signal will remind me to begin? Choose something that fits naturally into your day. A morning drink, a meal, a time, a place. The simpler the cue, the stronger the habit. Next, design the routine. Make it short. Make it easy. Make it so simple you cannot resist it. Your goal is to begin, not to be perfect. The routine will grow with time. Finally, shape the reward. Your reward should give you a sense of satisfaction. It can be emotional, like feeling calmer. It can be physical, like a moment of rest. It can even be symbolic, like checking off a small box on a habit tracker. The key is that the reward must feel good. This is what teaches your brain to repeat the habit. You can also use the habit loop to change old routines. If there is a habit you want to weaken, identify the cue. Once you know the cue, you can change your response. You keep the cue, but you design a better routine that leads to a healthier reward. For example, if you reach for snacks when you feel stressed, the cue is the emotion. You may not be hungry. You may simply want comfort. So instead of eating, you could replace the routine with a calming action. Maybe a short walk. Maybe deep breathing. Maybe writing down what you feel. If the new routine gives you comfort, your brain will slowly adopt it. The habit loop works because it speaks the language of the brain. The brain loves patterns. The brain loves predictability. The brain loves rewards. When you give the brain a clear loop, it follows it without effort. As you move forward, think of your habits as loops rather than isolated actions. Every loop has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you build the loop with care, the habit becomes automatic. You no longer struggle to start. The loop carries the habit for you. In the next chapter, we will explore how your environment shapes your behavior. You will learn how to design surroundings that support your habits and make them easy. But before we turn that page, remember this. Every habit you build is a loop. Create the cue. Design the routine. Enjoy the reward. And you will build habits that last. Chapter 5. Create an environment that supports you. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. It influences your choices quietly. It pulls you toward some habits and pushes you away from others. It affects how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Even when you believe you are in full control, your surroundings guide you. This is why building supportive habits begins with building a supportive environment. Think about a simple truth. You cannot expect good habits to thrive in a place designed for distraction. You cannot expect clarity when your space is filled with clutter. You cannot expect discipline when your environment tempts you at every turn. Your surroundings must work with you, not against you. One of the most powerful ways to shape your behavior is to shape the world around you. When you adjust your environment, you reduce the need for willpower. You make good habits easy. You make bad habits harder. And you create a path where progress feels natural. Let's start with a story. A student wanted to read more books. She wanted to learn, to grow, and to spend less time scrolling through her phone. But every evening, she found herself trapped in the same routine. She lay on her couch, phone in hand, scrolling without thinking. It became a habit she did not want, but the environment encouraged it. Then she made a small change. She placed her phone in another room when she came home. She put a book on the couch cushion where the phone used to be. The next evening, she sat down and reached for the book without thinking. Not because she had stronger willpower, not because she suddenly became more disciplined, but because her environment nudged her toward the habit she wanted. The space guided her choices. This is the first rule of environment design. Make good habits obvious. Place the tools for your desired habits where you can see them. Visible habits are easier to start. A water bottle on your desk reminds you to drink. Running shoes near the door remind you to move. A notebook on your table reminds you to write. Your environment becomes a silent coach. The second rule is just as important. Make bad habits invisible or inconvenient. Hide the things that distract you. Put distance between yourself and your temptations. When a habit becomes harder to access, you naturally do it less. This simple shift protects your focus and your energy. Let's look at another story. A man wanted to improve his diet. He kept processed snacks on the kitchen counter. Every time he walked by, he grabbed a handful. Not because he planned to, not because he was hungry, but because the food was easy to reach. His environment made the decision for him. Then he changed the setup. He put the snacks on the top shelf out of sight. He placed fresh fruit in a bowl on the counter. The visual cue changed his behavior. He still had access to the snacks, but he needed effort to reach them. That effort was enough to slow the habit down. And the fruit became the new default choice. This is the power of the environment. It makes some actions effortless and others difficult. Most people underestimate this influence. They blame themselves for a lack of discipline. But often, the environment is the real problem. When you adjust the space, your behavior follows. Another key element of a supportive environment is reducing friction. Friction is anything that makes starting a habit harder. If your workspace is cluttered, friction increases. If your exercise clothes are buried in a drawer, friction increases. If you need to search for supplies every time you want to work on a project, friction increases. And when friction increases, habits fade. To build strong habits, remove friction wherever you can. Prepare your space the night before. Set out your tools in advance. Make the first step simple and smooth. A 5-second improvement in your setup can create hours of progress over time. You can also use environment design to build emotional support. Your space can lift your mood. It can give you peace. It can create clarity. Small touches matter. A clean desk creates focus. Soft lighting reduces stress. A calm corner invites reflection. Your environment becomes a place that nurtures your best self. Work environments matter too. If your desk is designed for deep focus, you will focus more. If your desk is designed for distraction, you will drift more. Even the placement of your chair, the arrangement of your tools, and the layout of your digital workspace affect your habits. Digital environments deserve attention as well. Your phone, Your apps and your notifications shape your behavior every day. Turn off alerts that interrupt your focus. Organize your home screen to highlight the apps that support your growth. Hide the apps that drain your time. Digital habits are built through digital environments. Let's consider one more example. A woman wanted to meditate each morning, but her living room was noisy. Her phone buzzed constantly. The house felt busy. She struggled to stay consistent, so she created a small meditation space in the corner of her bedroom. She added a simple cushion, a plant, a soft light. She placed her phone across the room. The moment she stepped into that space, her mind shifted. Her body understood the routine. The environment trained her to slow down. Meditation became her morning habit. Your environment does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be elaborate. It only needs to support the direction you want to go. Small changes make a big difference. When your surroundings match your goals, your habits grow naturally. As you continue building your habit blueprint, remember this truth. Your environment is a partner in your success. Design it with purpose. Shape it with care. Let it guide your habits gently, every day. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of daily consistency. You will learn why small steady action creates long-term transformation. But for now, take a moment to look around. Ask yourself, does my environment support the life I want to build? If the answer is no, start with one small change today. Chapter 6. The Power of Daily Consistency. Daily consistency is the quiet engine behind every meaningful change. It does not demand force. It does not require perfection. It only asks for steady movement in the right direction. Small actions repeated over time create progress that cannot be achieved through intense bursts alone. Many people underestimate consistency because it feels slow. It does not give instant results. It does not feel dramatic. But the truth is simple. A small action done every day builds more strength than a large action done once in a while. Think of a drop of water falling on a stone. One drop does nothing. 10 drops do nothing. But thousands of drops carve a mark. The stone changes not because of force but because of rhythm. Your habits work the same way. Your life changes not through occasional effort but through steady daily action. Let's start with a story. A man wanted to learn a new language. He tried studying for long hours on weekends. Every session felt heavy. His mind became tired. He forgot what he learned between sessions. After a month he gave up. He believed he lacked talent. But the real problem was the pattern, not the person. Later he tried a different approach. He practiced for 5 minutes every morning. Just 5 minutes. The sessions were short. They were simple, but they were consistent. Within a year he could hold full conversations. Not because he pushed harder, but because he showed up every day. Consistency turned a small effort into a big achievement. This is the power of daily repetition. It builds memory. It builds confidence. It builds identity. And over time it creates a strong foundation that lasts. Consistency also keeps your momentum alive. When you skip too many days, your mind loses rhythm. Your body loses familiarity. Your motivation fades. But when you show up daily, even for a short moment, you protect your progress. You keep the habit alive. You send a message to yourself that says, "This is who I am." Many people feel discouraged when they miss a day. They believe the streak is broken. They believe the progress is lost. But consistency is not about being perfect. It is about returning. It is about coming back after a pause, even a long pause. Consistency grows from recommitment, not from flawless patterns. One of the best ways to strengthen consistency is to make the habit small. Small habits are easier to maintain. They do not drain your energy. They do not create resistance. They fit naturally into your day. This makes daily repetition possible. Consider another example. A woman wanted to improve her fitness. She joined a gym and created a long routine. But the routine took too much time. She skipped a few days, then skipped a few weeks. Her habit faded. Then she tried something new. She committed to a 2-minute stretch every morning. 2 minutes felt easy. It felt light. She did not dread it. She did not delay it. She simply did it. Over time, 2 minutes became 5, then 10. Soon she built a consistent daily movement routine. The small habit created the platform for bigger habits. Consistency does not make you perfect. It makes you reliable. It builds trust with yourself. It creates a sense of stability in your life. When you know you can show up daily, you develop an inner strength that guides you through challenges. There is another reason. Consistency matters. Daily repetition sends clear signals to the brain. It teaches your mind what is important. It forms strong neural pathways. Each repetition strengthens the connection. The habit becomes easier. It becomes automatic. Your brain learns the pattern and begins to support it without effort. This is why daily habits feel easier over time. You are not becoming more disciplined. You are becoming more aligned with the rhythm you created. But consistency requires patience. You will not always feel like doing the habit. You will have days when energy is low. You will have days when you feel distracted. This is where small flexible habits become powerful. They allow you to stay consistent even when life feels messy. A tiny version of the habit keeps your identity intact. For example, if your daily habit is writing, you can write 1 sentence on a busy day. If your habit is learning, you can review 1 note. If your habit is exercise, you can stretch for 1 minute. These small actions maintain consistency. They keep the door open. They make it easier to return the next day. Consistency also changes how you see yourself. Each day you show up, you strengthen your identity as someone who takes action. You become dependable. You become capable. You become confident. This identity creates long-term transformation. As you continue your habit blueprint, remember this truth. Daily consistency is more valuable than daily intensity. Small, steady actions create the structure of your new life. Your goal is not speed. Your goal is rhythm. Your goal is to return each day, even for a few minutes. In the next chapter we will explore how to remove friction and add ease to your habits, making consistency even more achievable. For now, hold on to this simple idea. Success is not built in a single moment. It is built in the small moments you repeat. Every day you show up, you move forward, and each step, no matter how small, becomes part of who you are. Chapter 7. Remove friction. Add ease. One of the greatest secrets behind strong habits is the removal of friction. Friction is the invisible force that makes a simple action feel heavy. It is the small obstacle that slows you down. It is the tiny barrier that turns a 5-minute habit into a 20-minute struggle. When friction is high, motivation drops. When friction is low, habits become simple, smooth, and natural. Removing friction is not about becoming tougher. It is about becoming smarter. It is about shaping your world so that good habits are easy to start and easy to repeat. When your habits feel effortless, you stay consistent without stress. Let's begin with a story. A man wanted to drink more water throughout the day. He tried reminding himself. He tried using apps. He even wrote notes on his desk. But he still forgot. The problem was not motivation. The problem was friction. His water bottle was always in another room. He had to get up, walk away from his work and fill a glass. It was a tiny inconvenience, but it was enough to break the habit. One day, he made a simple change. He placed a water bottle right beside his computer, within reach, within sight. The habit became effortless. The friction disappeared, and the behavior followed. The lesson was clear. When you make a habit easy to begin, you naturally repeat it. This is the essence of friction. A small barrier can stop a good habit. A small improvement can fuel a great one. Friction shows up in many forms. It can be physical, like a messy workspace. It can be mental, like a confusing plan. It can be emotional, like feeling overwhelmed. When friction rises, motivation falls. When friction drops, action becomes almost automatic. Let's explore another example. A woman wanted to practice yoga every morning. She enjoyed the feeling it gave her, but she rarely followed through. Her mat was in the closet. Her room was cluttered, and getting ready felt like a chore. The friction was too high, so she changed her environment. She placed her yoga mat on the floor. Each night before bed, she cleared the space beside it. She set out her workout clothes where she could see them. The next morning, the routine was simple. Step onto the mat. Start moving. The friction was gone. The habit finally grew. Friction does not need to be dramatic to be powerful. Even a 5-second delay can block a habit. That is why many strong habits begin with small environmental shifts. When you remove friction, you reduce the effort required. And when the effort is low, your brain says yes more often. There is another side to this idea. Just as removing friction helps good habits, adding friction can weaken bad habits. If you want to cut back on an unwanted behavior, make it harder to begin. Increase the steps, increase the effort, increase the obstacles, even just a little. Here is a simple example. A teenager wanted to reduce the time he spent watching videos late into the night. His phone was always beside him. One tap, and the habit started. The friction was zero. He made a small change. Before bed, he plugged his phone in across the room. Not next to the pillow, not within reach. Across the room. Now to start watching videos, he had to get up, walk across the room, and pick up the phone. That tiny bit of friction changed everything. He watched less. He slept better. He felt more in control. This simple shift shows how powerful friction can be. It is not about discipline. It is about design. To remove friction from your good habits, start with these simple steps. First, make your tools ready and visible. Lay out your clothes. Open the book to the page you want to read. Prepare your workspace. A clear setup encourages a clear start. Second, break your habit into the smallest possible first step. If writing feels hard, open the document. If exercising feels heavy, put on your shoes. If organizing feels overwhelming, clean one small surface. These easy beginnings reduce friction and create momentum. Third, simplify the process. Less confusion, less decision-making. Every extra choice adds friction. The fewer decisions you make, the easier your habits become. You can also remove friction by streamlining your routines. If you prepare the night before, your morning becomes light. If you plan your meals ahead of time, eating well becomes simple. If you keep your tools in one place, you never waste time searching. These small improvements can save enormous amounts of energy. Another helpful idea is the 2-minute setup. Before starting a habit, ask yourself, what can I prepare in under 2 minutes that makes tomorrow easier? This could be packing your bag, placing your notebook on your desk, or arranging your kitchen for a healthy breakfast. 2 minutes today removes friction tomorrow. Let's consider the emotional side of friction. Sometimes friction is not physical. Sometimes it comes from stress or mental clutter. When your mind feels overwhelmed, even small habits feel heavy. In these moments, remove friction by making the habit even smaller than usual. Shrink it to the simplest version. Lighten the emotional load. This creates space for progress, even on difficult days. As you apply the habit blueprint, friction will become one of your most helpful tools. You will notice where things feel hard. You will notice where your routine breaks down, and you will begin to adjust, piece by piece, until your habits align with ease. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of simple tracking and reflection. You will learn how awareness strengthens habits and keeps your progress on track. But before we move forward, remember this principle: good habits grow when friction fades. Your job is not to push harder. Your job is to make the path smooth. Remove friction, add ease, and your habits will rise naturally. Chapter 8. Track progress. The simple way. Tracking your progress is one of the most powerful tools for building habits. You do not need charts. You do not need complex systems. You only need awareness. Awareness turns small actions into clear patterns. And when you see those patterns, your habits become stronger. Many people think tracking is about numbers, but the real purpose of tracking is encouragement. It gives you proof that you are moving forward. It turns invisible progress into visible progress. It shows you that your small actions matter. When you track a habit, even in a simple way, you create a sense of continuity. Your mind begins to recognize the effort you put in. This recognition builds motivation. Motivation builds consistency, and consistency builds transformation. Let's begin with a story that shows how simple tracking can be. A woman wanted to meditate every day. She struggled with consistency. Some mornings she remembered. Other mornings she forgot. The habit felt unstable. Then she started placing a small dot on a calendar. Each day she meditated. One tiny mark. No notes. No extra details. Just a dot. At first it seemed insignificant, but after a week she saw a small chain of dots. After 2 weeks the chain grew longer. She did not want to break the chain. That visual pattern encouraged her to keep going. The calendar became her mirror. It reflected her commitment back to her. The meditation habit finally took root. This is the power of simple tracking. It keeps your habits alive in your mind. It gives you something to protect. Tracking works because it creates a small moment of celebration. Your brain enjoys completion. It enjoys closure. Every time you mark your progress, you reward yourself. This small reward strengthens the habit loop, making the routine easier to repeat. You can track your habits in many easy ways. You can use a calendar. You can use a notebook. You can use a simple checklist. You can even use a single line on a page. The tool does not matter. What matters is that it feels light and natural. Let's look at another example. A young man wanted to build a daily writing habit. He felt pressure to write a lot each day. The pressure made him avoid the habit. Tracking stressed him out because he tried to record word counts and notes. Then he changed his method. He bought a small notebook with blank squares. Each time he wrote, he filled one square with a small X. It took 1 second. The system felt clean and calm. The X gave him a sense of progress without pressure. By the end of the month, the notebook was filled with marks. He had written more in 1 month than he had in the previous year. Tracking made the habit feel manageable. It kept the process alive. Tracking also helps you notice patterns that are easy to miss. You may see that you do certain habits more often in the morning. You may see that you skip habits when your environment feels cluttered. You may notice that one tiny shift in your routine changes everything. This awareness helps you make better choices. Tracking can also reveal emotional patterns. You may notice that stress weakens your habits. You may notice that tired nights disrupt the next morning. You may notice that certain days carry more energy. These insights help you adjust with wisdom instead of frustration. Another reason tracking works is that it builds accountability, not to others, but to yourself. When you track your progress, you create a small promise each day. A promise that says, I will show up. Every mark on the page keeps the promise alive. Tracking does not need to be perfect. You may miss a day. You may miss several days. This is normal. Tracking is not about guilt. It is about clarity. The moment you return to the habit, you return to the tracking. The system remains flexible. It supports you, not pressures you. You can also use simple reflection as a form of tracking. At the end of the day, ask one question. What small habit did I complete today? This short reflection builds awareness. It strengthens your identity. It keeps your mind connected to your growth. Let's consider a final example. A man wanted to build a healthier lifestyle. He decided to track only one thing: movement. Every evening, he wrote down whether he moved his body that day. He did not track steps. He did not track distance. He only tracked movement or no movement. This simple approach removed pressure. It kept the habit alive. Over time, movement turned into longer walks, then short workouts, then a daily routine. A single word on a page changed his life. As you continue building your habit blueprint, keep your tracking simple. Simple systems last. Complicated systems break. Choose a method that feels peaceful and easy. The goal is not to measure everything. The goal is to remain aware of your journey. In the next chapter, we will explore how to break old habits using small shifts. You will learn how tiny adjustments can interrupt patterns and create lasting change. For now, remember this: tracking is not about pressure. It is about awareness. A single mark, a single note, a single moment of reflection. These small actions keep your habits alive and guide you forward. Chapter 9. Break bad habits with small shifts. Breaking a bad habit does not require force. It does not require guilt. It does not require starting over again and again. It requires one thing: small shifts that slowly weaken the old pattern until it loses its power. Bad habits often feel strong because they have been repeated for a long time. They feel automatic. They feel familiar. They provide quick comfort, even if the comfort is temporary. But no habit is unbreakable. Every habit can be changed when you understand how it works, and how to interrupt it gently. Most people try to break habits by removing them all at once. They rely on willpower. They rely on strict rules. They rely on heavy pressure. This approach feels strong at first, but it collapses quickly. Why? Because the old cue, the old routine and the old reward still exist. The habit may stop for a moment, but the loop remains alive. To break a habit for good, you do not need to destroy the loop. You need to change the loop. You keep the cue. You keep the reward, but you adjust the routine. This small shift transforms the pattern without fighting your own mind. Let's begin with a simple story. A young woman had a habit of eating sweets every evening. She knew it was not good for her health, but the habit felt automatic. After dinner, she felt a wave of desire. She went to the kitchen. She opened the drawer. She ate something sweet. She felt comfort, but also frustration. Then she looked at the loop more closely. The cue was not hunger. The cue was the end of the day. The routine was eating sweets. The reward was comfort and relaxation. She did not remove the cue or the reward. She changed the routine. Instead of sweets, she made a small cup of herbal tea. It gave her warmth. It gave her comfort. It marked the end of the day with ease. The new routine replaced the old one. The desire for sweets faded. The small shift changed the habit. Breaking bad habits becomes far easier when you use this approach. Do not fight the habit. Redirect it. You can use this method with many habits. If the habit is checking your phone too often, keep the cue but change the routine. Each time you feel the urge, take one slow breath before reaching for the phone. The breath interrupts the automatic motion. It creates space. That space weakens the loop. If the habit is staying up late watching videos, add friction. Place your phone farther away. Turn off autoplay. Sign out of the app. These small shifts slow the routine and make the habit less rewarding. If the habit is negative self-talk, change the script. When the cue appears, replace the old line with a gentler one. You are not removing the emotion. You are redirecting the response. Small shifts break old habits because they make the routine unfamiliar. And when the routine becomes unfamiliar, the mind stops trusting it. The loop loses strength. Another helpful strategy is to shrink the habit. If you cannot stop it completely, reduce its size. A smaller version of the habit is easier to control. Control brings awareness. Awareness leads to change. For example, if you scroll on your phone for an hour, shrink the habit to 10 minutes. If you drink several sugary drinks a day, shrink it to 1. If you argue quickly, pause for 1 breath before speaking. These small reductions weaken the old pattern. You create distance. Distance gives you power. Let's explore another real-world example. A man had a habit of speaking sharply when stressed. He did not like this behavior. It created tension at home, but the habit felt automatic. The cue was stress. The routine was a quick, harsh reaction. The reward was temporary release. He tried to stop using force. He tried promising himself he would stay calm. Nothing worked. Then he made a small shift. Whenever stress hit, he placed his hand on his chest for 1 second. This physical gesture interrupted the routine. It slowed him down. It brought awareness. Over time, the sharp tone softened. The old habit lost strength because he replaced the routine with a calming action. This is the magic of small shifts. They create space in the loop. That space is where transformation begins. Another powerful strategy is environment design. The environment that supports a bad habit can be reshaped to weaken it. If snacks are visible, hide them. If late-night distractions are available, move them out of reach. If clutter makes you procrastinate, clear one small area. If certain apps pull you in, remove the shortcuts. These changes create friction, and friction slows the habit down. Bad habits also fade when you build strong habits that meet the same need. Every habit fills a need. Some fill the need in a healthy way. Some fill it in an unhealthy way. You do not remove the need. You replace the method. A person who eats mindlessly may actually need comfort. A person who procrastinates may actually need clarity. A person who overspends may actually need relief from stress. When you understand the real need, you can build a better habit that satisfies it. Small shifts also work well when paired with reflection. At the end of the day, ask a simple question. What triggered my habit today? This question builds awareness. Awareness builds control. Control builds change. As you move forward with your habit blueprint, Remember that breaking a bad habit is not a battle. It is a gentle redirection. It is a series of small, smart shifts. It is replacing the old routine with one that serves you better. It is adding friction where you need it, and ease where you want to grow. In the next chapter, we will explore keystone habits. You will learn how one powerful habit can create ripple effects across your entire life. But before you move on, keep this truth close. You do not need to fight your habits. You only need to adjust them. Small shifts weaken old patterns and open the door to a new way of living. Chapter 10. Build momentum with keystone habits. Some habits create change only in one area of your life. Other habits create change everywhere. These powerful habits are called keystone habits. A keystone habit is a single routine that produces a ripple effect. It improves your mood. It strengthens your discipline. It lifts other habits without extra effort. When you build one keystone habit, you build momentum that touches everything you do. Keystone habits matter because they create a foundation. They give you a sense of structure. They give you confidence. They give you energy. Once these habits are in place, other habits become easier to form. Think of a keystone habit as a lever. A lever does not require much force. It uses positioning. A small movement can lift something heavy. Keystone habits work the same way. One small action creates a large effect. Let's begin with a story. A college student struggled with focus. He wanted to improve his grades. He wanted to stay organized, but he felt scattered. He tried building many habits at once. He tried planners. He tried strict schedules. Nothing lasted. He felt overwhelmed. Then he decided to focus on one keystone habit: making his bed every morning. It took less than a minute. It seemed almost too simple, but the effect surprised him. Making his bed gave him a feeling of order. He started the day with a small win. That win led to another small win. He cleaned his desk. He reviewed his notes. He went to class with more clarity. The keystone habit created momentum. It set the tone for his entire day. This is the hidden power of keystone habits. They shift your energy. They shape your mindset. They influence your identity in subtle but meaningful ways. Another common keystone habit is exercise. Not intense exercise. Not long exercise. Even a short walk can transform the day. Exercise improves mood. It increases focus. It reduces stress. People who move regularly often sleep better, eat better, and think better. The habit multiplies itself. But the most important thing to remember is this: a keystone habit should be simple. It should be easy to repeat. It should give you an immediate sense of progress. Let's explore a few more examples of keystone habits. One person starts a 5-minute morning journal. This small reflection creates clarity. Clarity reduces stress. Reduced stress leads to better decisions. Better decisions lead to stronger habits. Another person begins planning tomorrow the night before. This quick routine removes morning confusion. The morning becomes calm. Calm mornings lead to productive days. Productive days build confidence. A different person begins a nightly reset routine. They tidy one small area. This single action keeps the home organized. An organized home reduces friction. Lower friction makes good habits easier to maintain. A keystone habit does not need to be dramatic. It only needs to create forward motion. Let's look at another story to bring this idea to life. A man felt overwhelmed with stress. His work felt heavy. His mind felt cluttered. He struggled to stay consistent with any routine. Then he adopted one small evening practice. Before going to bed, he wrote down 3 things he accomplished that day. It took less than a minute. But this tiny ritual changed how he saw himself. He went to bed with a sense of progress instead of pressure. He slept better. He woke up with more energy. He approached the next day with confidence. The keystone habit changed his mindset, and his mindset changed his behavior. Keystone habits are powerful because they support your identity. They tell you, I am someone who takes care of my life. This identity shift influences every other habit. One habit becomes the foundation for many. As you build your habit blueprint, choose a keystone habit that fits your lifestyle. It does not need to be impressive. It does not need to take a long time. It only needs to matter to you. Here are a few simple suggestions. Make your bed each morning. Drink a glass of water when you wake up. Take a short walk after lunch. Write one sentence in a journal. Spend 2 minutes planning your day. Stretch for 1 minute before bed. Clear one small space in your room. Read 1 page each evening. Choose the one that feels light and meaningful. Choose the one that gives you a sense of control. Choose the one that fits your rhythm. Once your keystone habit becomes stable, you will notice something interesting. Other habits begin to grow without much effort. Your consistency improves. Your energy rises. Your identity strengthens. Change becomes natural, not forced. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in personal growth. It turns discipline into ease. It turns effort into flow. Keystone habits create that momentum. They give you a starting point. They give you a daily anchor. They remind you who you are becoming. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the deeper meaning behind discipline. You will learn how to create discipline that feels supportive instead of harsh. But before you turn the page, remember this truth. You do not need many habits to change your life. You only need the right one. A single keystone habit can lift everything else. Begin with that one. Let it guide your momentum. Let it open the path toward the life you want. Chapter 11. Discipline made simple. Discipline is often misunderstood. People imagine it as force. They imagine harsh routines. They imagine pushing through pain and ignoring emotions. But real discipline is much simpler. Real discipline is not punishment. Real discipline is clarity. It is gentle structure. It is the steady promise you keep with yourself each day. Discipline becomes difficult only when it is built on pressure. When you try to force yourself into strict routines, your mind resists. When you demand perfection, your energy breaks. When you carry expectations that are too heavy, you collapse quickly. This is not discipline. This is strain. True discipline is different. It grows from small actions. It grows from consistency. It grows from identity. And it grows from a calm understanding of what truly matters. To understand discipline in a simple way, let's start with a story. A man wanted to wake up early. He believed discipline meant jumping out of bed with strength and energy. So he set harsh alarms. He pushed himself on the first day, then the second. By the third day, the routine fell apart. He blamed himself. He thought he lacked willpower. But the truth was simple. His system was too heavy. His routine was too strong for the identity he had at the time. Then he changed his approach. He placed his alarm across the room. He prepared his clothes the night before. He made one rule. Stand up for 1 minute when the alarm rings. That was it. No pressure, no intensity, just 1 minute on his feet. This small act became a pattern. The pattern became a habit. The habit became part of his identity. Soon, waking up early felt natural. Not because he pushed harder, but because he designed the behavior in a simple way. This story shows the truth about discipline. Discipline is not about doing more. It is about doing less but doing it every day. Discipline becomes simple when you remove friction. It becomes simple when you keep the first step small. It becomes simple when you link it to your identity. When these elements come together, discipline feels like a natural extension of who you are. One of the most powerful principles of simple discipline is lower the barrier. If a habit feels hard, shrink it. If a routine feels overwhelming, lighten it. If a task feels heavy, break it into pieces. Your goal is not to prove your strength. Your goal is to build a rhythm you can follow. Let's explore another example. A woman wanted to study for a professional exam. She believed she needed long sessions every day, but life was busy. She worked long hours. She came home tired. Every evening the thought of studying felt stressful. She avoided it. Weeks passed without progress. Then she changed her method. She decided to study for 5 minutes each evening. Just 5 minutes. It sounded almost too small, but she tried it. She opened her book. She read a short section. Some nights she stopped at 5 minutes. Other nights she kept going. The habit grew. The pressure faded. And within months she completed the exam with confidence. Discipline becomes simple when the entry point is small. When the beginning feels light, you show up more often. Showing up becomes normal. Normal becomes automatic. Automatic becomes identity. Another key principle of simple discipline is consistency over intensity. Intensity burns energy. Consistency builds energy. Intensity feels impressive for one day. Consistency feels powerful over many days. A small daily action becomes stronger than a rare burst of effort. Discipline also becomes simple when you connect it to your values. When your habits support something meaningful, the routine feels natural. If health matters to you, a small movement each day feels aligned. If learning matters to you, reading one page feels purposeful. Discipline grows when your actions reflect what you care about. There is another truth about discipline that people often forget. Discipline works best when paired with kindness. You will have days when energy is low. You will have days when things fall apart. You will have days when the habit feels harder than usual. On those days, simple discipline means adjusting, not quitting. It means doing the smallest version of the habit. It means protecting the identity even when circumstances are difficult. Gentleness keeps you consistent. Consistency strengthens discipline. Let's consider a final story. A teenager wanted to practice the piano every day. He loved music but felt overwhelmed by long practice sessions. He often skipped days. The guilt grew. He felt discouraged. Then his teacher gave him new advice. Touch the piano every day, she said. Not for an hour. Not for 10 minutes. Just touch it. Let your fingers rest on the keys. He followed the advice. Some days he played one note. Some days he played a full piece. But he touched the piano daily. The habit became gentle. It became meaningful. And it became strong. Simple discipline created mastery. As you move forward with your habit blueprint, remember this truth. Discipline is not a battle. It is not a test. It is a practice. And like all practices, it grows through small steady steps. In the next chapter we will explore momentum. You will learn how action creates energy and how progress accelerates when movement becomes consistent. But before we turn the page, keep this idea close. Discipline is not about force. Discipline is about design. Make it simple. Make it small. Make it steady. And you will build a discipline that lasts. Chapter 12. Stay motivated for the long run. Motivation is a moving force. Some days it feels strong. Some days it feels distant. Some days it disappears without warning. This is normal. Motivation rises and falls like a tide. The key to long-term success is not chasing motivation, but understanding how to renew it gently and consistently. Many people believe they must feel motivated before taking action, but motivation often comes after action, not before it. When you begin a task, even a small one, your mind wakes up, energy rises, momentum builds. This creates motivation. So the question is not how do I stay motivated all the time? The real question is how do I bring motivation back when it fades? Let's start with a story. A young man wanted to get in shape. At first he felt excited. He imagined the results. He created a routine. But after a few weeks, the excitement faded. Work became busy. Life became stressful. He lost motivation and stopped exercising. Later he tried something different. Instead of relying on motivation, he relied on rhythm. He committed to moving for 1 minute every day. Just 1 minute. Some days the minute became longer. Some days it stayed small. But the act of showing up renewed his motivation. He discovered that motivation grows through action, not the other way around. This simple truth can transform the way you approach your goals. One of the most powerful ways to stay motivated is to reconnect with your why. Your why is the reason behind your habit. It is the deeper meaning. It is the emotional spark that reminds you why the habit matters. If you want to eat healthier, your why may be energy. If you want to learn a skill, your why may be growth. If you want to save money, your why may be security. When motivation fades, return to your why. Speak it aloud. Write it down. Bring it back into your awareness. A strong why keeps your habits alive. Another helpful strategy is to celebrate small wins. Every small step deserves recognition. A completed workout, a page read, a small task finished. Each win signals progress. Progress fuels motivation. Motivation fuels more progress. This cycle keeps you moving even when energy feels low. Let's explore another example. A woman wanted to write a book. She started strong. Words came easily in the beginning. But as the chapters grew, doubts appeared. Her motivation dropped. She questioned her ability. She questioned her progress. Then she created a new practice. Each time she finished a writing session, she placed a gold sticker on her notebook. A simple, almost childlike reward. But it worked. The small visual reminder encouraged her. It turned the act of showing up into a celebration. The small wins rebuilt her motivation day by day. Motivation also grows when you make your habits enjoyable. Enjoyment does not remove effort, but it softens it. If you decorate your workspace, the atmosphere lifts your mood. If you add music to your routine, the process feels smoother. If you combine your habit with something pleasant, like a walk in nature or a warm drink, the habit becomes easier to maintain. Enjoyment is a quiet form of motivation. Another powerful method is measuring progress in your own way. Some people use checklists. Some use journals. Some use simple reflections. Tracking your growth, even with a short note, reminds you of how far you've come. When you see progress, you feel more motivated to continue. Let's look at a different story. A man struggled with motivation to improve his finances. Saving felt slow. He often felt discouraged. Then he started a simple practice. Every time he saved even a small amount, he wrote one sentence in a notebook. He wrote how it made him feel. He wrote why it mattered. Reading those notes each month renewed his motivation. He could see the growth. He could see the commitment. He could see the future he was building. The habit became easier because his motivation had a place to rest. Another important truth about long-term motivation is this: your energy will not be the same every day. You will have high energy days. You will have low energy days. This is part of being human. When your energy is high, you can do more. When your energy is low, you can do less. Both are part of the journey. The key is to adapt instead of resist. On low energy days, shrink your habits. On high energy days, expand them if you want to. This flexibility protects your motivation. It prevents burnout. It keeps your identity strong even when circumstances shift. Motivation also grows when you surround yourself with supportive influences. This includes people, environments, and even the content you consume. Encouraging voices lift you. Positive examples inspire you. A clean space energizes you. Supportive environments keep your motivation alive without effort. Finally, motivation grows when you allow yourself to rest. Rest is not a break from progress. Rest is a part of progress. A tired mind cannot stay motivated. A tired body cannot stay consistent. When you rest with intention, you return stronger, and strength builds motivation. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore what happens when life becomes challenging. You will learn how to protect your habits during difficult times and how to stay connected to your goals even when life feels heavy. But before we move forward, remember this truth: motivation is not constant. It is a living force. It rises, it falls, it returns. Your job is not to control motivation. Your job is to renew it with small actions, meaningful reasons, and gentle awareness. With these tools you can stay motivated for the long run. Chapter 13. When life gets hard. There will be moments when life feels heavy, moments when routines break, moments when the world feels overwhelming, and your habits feel far away. These moments do not mean you have failed. They simply mean you are human. Every journey has difficult seasons. The true test of your habits is not how they perform when life is easy. The true test is how you respond when life becomes challenging. Your progress is defined not by perfection, but by your ability to adjust, recover, and continue with gentleness. When life gets hard, the first step is acceptance. Accept that struggle is a natural part of growth. Accept that your energy will change. Accept that your routines may shift. Acceptance creates space. It removes pressure. It allows you to see clearly instead of fighting against reality. Let's begin with a story. A woman was making wonderful progress with her morning routine. She woke up on time. She exercised. She read. She felt strong and steady. Then a stressful month arrived. Her schedule changed. Her sleep suffered. Her routine collapsed. She felt discouraged. She believed she ruined everything. But she learned an important truth. She realized that the goal was not to repeat the routine perfectly. The goal was to keep a connection to her habits, even in small ways. She shifted her approach. Instead of exercising for 20 minutes, she stretched for 2. Instead of reading a chapter, she read a paragraph. Instead of waking up early, she focused on waking up with intention. These small adjustments protected her identity. They kept her grounded. And when life settled, she returned to her full routine with ease. This is how resilient habits are built. Not by force, not by guilt, but by flexibility. Hard times require a softer approach. You do not need to push yourself beyond your limits. You simply need to keep the smallest version of your habit alive. Even a single breath, even a single step, even a single moment of awareness. Small actions protect progress. They remind you, I am still moving forward. Another helpful strategy during difficult times is to simplify your priorities. When life is stressful, you do not need 10 habits. You need 1 or 2 habits that support you. Choose the habits that bring comfort, stability, or clarity. Let everything else rest. When things get better, you can rebuild. Let's explore another example. A man was doing well with his new productivity routine. He organized his days. He stayed on track. Then a family situation changed everything. His time was no longer his own. He felt overwhelmed. He lost motivation. He felt guilty for not keeping up. Then he made a simple shift. He focused on one grounding habit. A nightly reflection. Just 1 minute. He wrote 1 sentence about his day. Sometimes the sentence was short and tired. Sometimes it was hopeful. But he kept the habit alive. This small practice gave him emotional stability. It reminded him that he still had control over something. It helped him stay centered until life settled again. This shows the strength of minimal habits. A small ritual can anchor you when everything else feels uncertain. Another key idea for hard times is compassion. You must treat yourself with understanding. Self-criticism weakens your habits. Self-compassion strengthens them. When you speak to yourself with kindness, you stay connected to your goals. You give yourself the permission to try again tomorrow. Remember, difficult seasons do not erase your progress. They simply slow the pace. And a slower pace is still a pace. During hard times it also helps to create moments of stillness. A few deep breaths. A short walk. A quiet pause. Stillness helps your mind settle. It allows you to return to your habits with clarity, instead of exhaustion. Another practical tool is to lean on your environment. When motivation is low, your environment becomes even more important. A clean surface, a visible cue, a prepared space. These small supports reduce friction and help you stay steady when your energy is low. You can also rely on the people in your life. Support does not mean weakness. Support strengthens your habits. A conversation, a kind word, or a shared moment can lift your energy and remind you of your direction. As you move forward with your habit blueprint, understand this simple truth. Your habits are not built to impress others. They are built to support you, especially when life becomes difficult. In the next chapter you will learn how to reset your habits with clarity and confidence. You will discover how reflection and renewal help you reconnect with your goals. But before we turn the page, hold on to this idea. You are allowed to move slowly during hard times. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to change your pace. What matters is that you stay connected to the journey even in the smallest way. When life gets hard, do not give up. Adjust. Breathe. Begin again with a gentle step. Growth still happens in difficult seasons, just in quieter ways. Chapter 14. The Habit Reset. Every habit journey needs moments of renewal, not because you failed, not because you are starting over, but because growth happens in cycles. There are seasons of momentum, there are seasons of challenge, and there are seasons when you simply need to pause, reflect, and reset. A habit reset is not a restart, it is a recalibration. It helps you realign your habits with who you are today. It gives you clarity. It gives you energy. It gives you a fresh foundation for your next chapter of growth. Let's begin with a story. A young professional had been consistent with her morning routine for months. She felt focused. She felt balanced. But over time her schedule changed. New responsibilities appeared. Her mornings became rushed. Her old routine no longer fit her life. She felt frustrated, as if she was losing progress. Then she decided to reset. She stepped back. She looked at her habits with fresh eyes. She asked herself simple questions. What still works? What no longer fits? What small change would help me right now? Her answers surprised her. She did not need a full routine. She only needed a few core habits to anchor her mornings. With this clarity, she built a new pattern that matched her life. The reset brought her peace and renewed motivation. This is the purpose of a habit reset. It helps you release what no longer serves you and strengthen what does. A good reset begins with reflection. Take a moment to look at your habits without judgment. Just notice them. What habits feel strong? What habits feel heavy? What habits feel outdated? Reflection reveals the truth gently and clearly. The next step is simplification. During a reset, choose only the habits that truly matter. The habits that support your health, your clarity, or your growth. These are your anchor habits. Anchor habits give you stability when everything else feels uncertain. You do not need many habits to feel balanced. You need the right ones. Another important part of resetting is releasing old expectations. Sometimes you carry routines that fit a past version of yourself. You change. Your life changes. Your habits must change with you. When you let go of outdated routines, you create space for habits that match your current season. Let's explore another example. A man had been learning a new skill every night. It worked well for him during quiet months. But then his life became busy. His evenings filled with responsibilities. The habit felt stressful. He felt guilty when he skipped it. During his reset, he changed his approach. He decided to learn only on weekends. This small shift made the habit feel light again. The pressure disappeared. The desire returned. The reset saved the habit by reshaping it. Resets teach you flexibility. They remind you that habits are tools, not chains. You shape them. You adjust them. You make them serve your life, not the other way around. Another helpful part of the reset process is reconnecting with your why. Ask yourself why the habit matters to you. Does it give you peace? Does it support your health? Does it help you grow? When you reconnect with the purpose behind your habit, your motivation returns naturally. You can also use a reset to rebuild your environment. Sometimes a habit does not fail because of the routine. It fails because the environment no longer supports it. A simple reset of your space, clearing a desk, organizing a corner, preparing tools ahead of time, can bring your habit back to life. A habit reset also works beautifully when life feels chaotic. In chaotic seasons, your habits do not need to be strong. They only need to be simple. Choose the smallest possible version of each habit. A 1-minute exercise, 1 page of reading, 1 moment of reflection. These tiny habits keep your identity intact until life becomes steady again. Let's explore one more story. A woman was practicing gratitude every night. It helped her feel grounded. But after several difficult weeks, she felt too tired to write. The habit faded. She felt disconnected. During her reset, she changed the routine. Instead of writing, she placed her hand on her heart and said one sentence aloud. I am grateful for this moment. It took 10 seconds. It brought calm. It restored the habit. A new version of the habit served her better for the season she was in. This is the essence of a habit reset. You do not erase the habit. You evolve it. As you continue your habit blueprint, remember that resets are a natural part of growth. Use them with intention. Use them with awareness. Use them with kindness. A reset is a gift you give yourself. It helps you return to your goals with renewed clarity. It keeps your habits aligned with your life. It reminds you that change is not a straight line. Change is a rhythm. In the next and final chapter, we will bring everything together. You will learn how small actions, steady habits, and gentle renewal form the blueprint for a new life. But before you turn the page, hold this truth close. You do not need to start over. You only need to reset. A small reset today can unlock powerful progress tomorrow. Conclusion. Design the life you want. Your life is shaped by the small actions you choose each day, not by dramatic moments, not by sudden changes, but by the quiet steps that repeat themselves over time. These steps build your identity, they build your habits, and they build the direction of your future. You now understand the power of small habits. You know how identity drives behavior. You know how one small step creates momentum. You know how cues, routines, and rewards shape your days. You know how your environment supports your growth. You know why consistency matters more than intensity. You know how friction can block you or lift you. You know how simple tracking keeps you aware. You know how small shifts break old patterns. You know how keystone habits create ripple effects. You know how gentle discipline makes progress natural. You know how to renew motivation when it fades. And you know how to protect your habits during hard seasons. You have learned how to reset. You have learned how to begin again. Through each chapter, one message has remained constant. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are not limited by your past. You are always one small step away from a new direction. Designing the life you want does not require perfection. It requires awareness. It requires intention. And it requires small actions repeated with purpose. When your habits support the person you want to become, change becomes natural. The blueprint of your life begins to shift. You grow quietly at first, then visibly, then confidently. As you move forward, remember this truth. Habits are tools. They are meant to serve you. Shape them, refine them, reset them when needed. Let them evolve with you as you grow through different seasons of life. Designing your life is not a single moment. It is a daily practice. A practice built from small steps, steady rhythms, and gentle improvements. Each day offers a new opportunity, a new beginning, a new chance to live with intention. So take a breath. Look at your life with clarity. Choose one small habit that lifts you. Begin with ease. Begin with purpose. Let that habit guide you into the life you want to create. Change does not need to be loud. It does not need to be dramatic. It only needs to be consistent. Step by step, day by day. You are designing your future in the smallest moments. Your new life is not far away. It begins now, with one small action, and then another, and then another. The blueprint is in your hands. Design the life you want, one simple habit at a time.